Rated M for mature.
Don't let your kids watch it!
Some days I see him, some days I don't. A clear sky gets cloudy, and rain will always stop eventually. I thought his absence was just like that, but he was actually on the verge of breakdown. Notebook page 19. Shion, it's been a week. At this point, almost all the main characters are mentally unstable. That's very, very true. Yeah. Honestly, I think the only two characters... I genuinely think the only two main characters you could argue that are actually mentally stable, and this is again, I don't know this for sure. Take this with a grain of salt. Mion and Rika. Now, even then, something's going on with Rika where she has knowledge of all the stuff that's happening, so I can't even call her completely mentally sound. And I know in Chapter 2, they really try to be like, oh, Mion's going crazy. I don't believe it. I still think that was Shion's, so... I'm not saying that Mion's without her faults, but I don't think she's completely mentally unstable. I just think that she's part of a bad family, and she can't really get out of it, and she probably doesn't have much of a problem with being in it. All right. The rainy season was just around the corner. The air had become so humid that my shirt stuck to my skin. This is what we call a first world problem, Shion. It had been a few weeks since Satoshi-kun stopped showing up for baseball practice. I looked at him for him as soon as I arrived at the field. He's not here yet. Did I get here too early? I want to see him playing in the field right when I get here. I had started arriving late because of those feelings. However, he wasn't there today either. Tomatake is mentally sound, something like drugs got him killed. Okay, I don't consider Tomatake to be a main character. I was looking mainly at, like, Keiichi, Rena, Mion, Shion, Rika, Satoko, and... maybe I'll throw Satoshi in there too. But even then, he's only a main character in this one. I didn't even bother hiding my disappointment anymore. Because if we're including other characters as well, Akasaka is definitely mentally stable. Uisi is definitely mentally stable. I was going to say the teacher was, but the teacher has an unhealthy obsession with curry. Everybody knew by now how I felt. The team members from Mion's class came over to try and console me, but I shooed them away.
園崎さん、気分が優れませんか?
Even Eri couldn't comfort me. I was aware that he too knew why I was like this.
今日帰りますね。気分じゃないです。
ほら、今日は沖宮タイタンズさんと打ち合わせをする日じゃないですか。マネージャーの園崎さんにも同席してほしかったんですが、ね。
No, Uisi is kind of creepy at times with him being like, oh, I love Hooters. But he is mentally sound.
私を勝手にマネージャーにしないでください。
Rena is mentally sound if she remembers to take her meds.
私、マネージャーだったつもりはないんですから。
Eri looked down, not knowing what to say.
わかりました。元気が回復したら、また手伝ってくださいね。
もう来ないかもです。マネージャーが必要なら、私以外を募集してください。
気が向いた時でいいです。また遊びに来てくださいね。
Thanks, coach.
それにほら、あなたがいないと、サトシ君が戻ってきた時、寂しがりますよ。
I ignored him and turned around. I had already set up my schedule with Mion, so I didn't have to ask her every time anymore. I tried to contact her a couple of times to ask how Satoshi-kun was doing in school, but I hadn't been able to get through to her. Apparently, the hag had sensed that I might be in contact with Sis. In other words, Sis was being watched. As a result, it hadn't been easy to contact her. Kasai, who had been helping me contact her, seemed to have also been marked. People knew he was loyal to me. I hadn't seen him for a while either. All I could do was wonder how Satoshi-kun was doing. He was aggressive with Keiichi in Chapter 3 for no reason at first. Are you talking about when he was catching us in the act of digging up a corpse? Because he absolutely had every right to be aggressive with... Or are you talking about when he was meeting us at the school and Coach kind of popped up and was like, hey, stop talking with him. Again, I think it was mentally sound. He maybe just was not doing the most ethical cop things. At times you feel bad for Shion when it comes to family and upbringing, but you also hate her for her selfish personality. Again, this is what I always say. Bad upbringing or tragic backstory. It can explain your actions, but it does not excuse your actions. My head is filled with worries, but something surprised me out of the blue. Somebody called out to me when I was about to leave my field on my bike. Yes! Yes! Here she is! It's Rena! I've been looking forward to this. I'd never seen this girl before. Luckily, she called me Mi-chan. There's only one person who refers to Mion that way as far as I know.
レナか。珍しいね。レナがここに来るなんて。
Her name is Rena Ryugu. Or Reina Ryugu, that's right. Her real name is Reina, but she wants to be called Rena. Because there's no I in Rena. So that's what we call her. She moved here in April. I had some information about her, but it was all ambiguous. Sis was still a bit uncertain about her since she's so new. It was hard for me to handle someone like that. I didn't know how to act around her as Mion. So I decided to pretend to be in an obvious sulky mood. That way she wouldn't talk to me as much, assuming that Mion was simply feeling bad. Well, that's how I really am anyway.
みーちゃんは帰り？
Uh-oh, she's gonna be great! I live there! Let's walk together!
気分が優れないの。
Uh-oh.
悪いね。
You don't care that your Yakuza dagger figure is going to lose a finger, Satoshi is important. Yep, that's how it's gonna go, isn't it?
じゃあ一緒に帰ろう。
I wanted to say that I'd rather be alone, but there's only one road to Hinamizawa. So asking to be alone would look odd. The only way to not seem suspicious would be to walk home with her.
そうだね。帰ろうか。
Uh-oh. But I'm looking forward to this. Rena nodded quietly. I unlocked my bike.
みーちゃん、傘は？
持ってないけど。
今日はこの後天気崩れるかもしれないんだって。傘ないなら急ごう。
Yeah, it sounds like Rena just moved in. And so they don't really know much about her, which is honestly fascinating to me. I'm interested to see how this goes. As she predicted, we were attacked by pouring rain on our way. We ended up taking shelter in a small shack in front of a bus stop.
すごい降りだけど、これはそんなに長引きそうじゃないね。向こうの空は明るいもの。
Rena's so fascinating because she's simultaneously like the sweetest and like most caring and like lovely person, and she's also by far the most terrifying character in this when she goes crazy.
そうだね。
I heard the sound of rain pattering on the rooftop and the raindrops jumping into puddles. It sounded loud, but it made me feel strangely calm. I zoned out for a moment. Then Rena talked to me while looking up at the rainy sky.
最近元気ないって聞いたから。
Why is Rena repeating her words? I don't know.
心配してたんだよ。
All the baseball team members knew I was depressed because I hadn't seen Satoshi-kun recently. Most of them attend the school in Hinamizawa, so it wasn't surprising that she knew as well. I hadn't been able to contact Sis these past few weeks, but I was sure she had an idea of how I feel about Satoshi-kun, and how I would feel if he didn't come to his baseball practice. Sis was probably pretending to act a little depressed during her day today in Hinamizawa to avoid creating a big gap between our moods. But neither of us knew the details about the other one right now. So she wouldn't be able to answer if others asked her what was wrong. She'd only be able to say, "Leave me alone." That might lead more people to become worried. Rena must have thought Mion was depressed. That must be why she came all the way here to see me. She must have known what was going on, because she knew that I was at the baseball field.
サトシ君、構ってくれないから寂しい？
Having deduced what's been going on with Satoshi-kun from what she just said, he'd been distancing himself from others lately because of his exhaustion, or because he's disturbed by how much of a creepy stalker you are. That's what it sounded like, at least.
サトコちゃんの件でだいぶ悩んでるみたいだ。
Shield's gonna snap. You're like, I'm so sick of Satoko!
サトシ君はすごく追い詰められてると思う。かわいそうだよね。
サトシ君は本当に妹思いだからね。
Why doesn't he care about me more?
偉いよ、本当に。
What I'd said sounded hollow, as I knew too well how much of a burden Satoko had become.
でもだからってみーちゃんまで落ち込んじゃったら かえってサトシ君を追い詰めちゃうように思うかな。
私に追い詰めるつもりなんて。
それはもちろん知ってるよ。でもだからこそ学校にいる時のサトシ君を笑顔で迎えてあげられなかったら、みーちゃんはたとえ嘘でも笑顔が作れる強い人間だって知ってる。だから嘘でも笑ってほしいの。最初はたとえ嘘でもね。
Oh, I just realized if she just moved here, this must have happened very shortly after her massive mental breakdown in her previous school, where she just shattered all the glass windows with a baseball bat. Ooh. I'm excited.
笑顔って最後には本物になるんだよ。
What she was saying, in a nutshell, was this. Both Satoshi-kun and Satoko were totally wiped out. If Mion was also depressed, even though she's the sort of person who usually lightens the mood, their situation would be stuck in a vicious cycle. Rena sounded more like she was trying to give me advice than trying to console me. She must be more mature than she looks. Sis told me she was a funny girl with a few bad habits, but she seemed to have another very mature side to her.
みーちゃんはサトシ君のこと好き？
She does, but Mion doesn't. I assume. Oh, she just answered yeah. Though I shouldn't have told her that. I immediately responded.
なら笑おう。
Rena smiled herself.
みーちゃんの笑顔できっとサトシ君に元気を分けてあげられると思う。みーちゃんはそれしかできないことに落胆しかけているかもしれないけれど、それでもね、多分それが一番サトシ君の力になる。
Detective Rena is pretty good.
理屈ではわかるけどね。笑えったってそう簡単にはできないよ。
Rena giggled and nodded.
野球の練習にもさ、バイトが終わったらきっと帰ってくるから。
His part-time job? I almost asked that question, but I managed to stop myself. From the tone of Rena's voice, it sounded like it was something everyone knew.
バイトか。いつ終わるんだろうね。
お金が貯まるまでだろうけど、どんなに遅くてもさとこちゃんの誕生日までには終わるよ。
Wait. Trying to remember. Was there something in a previous chapter about how he was trying to save up enough money for Satoko's birthday? And then, like, he left around that time, and Keiichi was like, how could he leave without Satoko? He's the worst. He's a jerk butt. I hate him. I think that's what happened, yeah. I couldn't remember if he was saving money specifically to get her something nice, or if he was saving enough money to try to get them away from the aunt. But then it's like, but then he just disappeared. I think that's what it was. I tried to figure out what was going on from what she said. I had to listen very carefully to uncover the whole picture. Oh my gosh, she's gonna be like, he's doing it for Satoko again! She's the cause of all his misery! Satoshi-kun seemed to be working in order to make some money. I don't think it's easy to find a job when you're still in school. Sis might have had something to do with it. His job only seemed temporary, and it seemed to have something to do with Satoko's birthday. It wasn't that difficult to figure out. Satoshi was working to saving up to buy his little sister something expensive for her birthday. He was trying to comfort her, even though he was so torn up himself. Satoko again. Satoshi-kun was already worn out because of her, and now he was working for her sake even though he was exhausted. How much of this disgusting thoughts are we gonna have to hear? How stupid. It'll be easier for him to just forget about Satoko. He should spend the money on me. I'm more important. I don't know why he cares about his little sister. She just sounds terrible. Oh, jeez. I was not ready for that one. Rena, I don't really see why you should be this creepy. I was startled when I realized Rena was staring straight into my eyes. She was smiling, but her eyes looked creepy. I never voiced what I was thinking, but she was looking at me as though she figured out that I was blaming Satoko. She can read minds! She beamed when she noticed my fear. Oh, great! Rena! Being terrifying again! She smiled as though she understood that I thought that way because of love. She was giving me the creeps. I could hear thunder roar in the distance. The rain began to pick up.
さとこちゃんがサトシ君を独占してることに
Jane!
嫉妬を感じてる？
Rena did not take her pills this morning, clearly. Maybe Rena is still waiting on her pill prescription. I avoided answering immediately this time. But Rena seemed to know what I was thinking already.
別にみーちゃんがそう思っても私は軽蔑しな
Bro,
いよ。
this is what I mean. She's so sweet and caring, but my gosh, is she terrifying.
人を一途に好きになるときってそういうものだもん。
ありがとう。
でもみーちゃんは今までずっとさとこちゃんを励ましてくれてたよね。それって私すごく立派なことだと思うな。
さとこは仲間だもの。当然でしょ。
I sounded so fake. I felt like spitting on the floor.
私たちにはさとこちゃんもさとしくんも励ますことしかできな
Okay,
い。
here's the thing. If she actually loves Satoshi and she wants to be with him, does she really think that Satoshi's just gonna be like, see ya, Satoko, don't care about you at all. I'm gonna be with Shion. Like, Shion, you have a sister. You at least seem to care about your sister on some level. At least I think so. But, right, boy.
どうやったらこの苦境から救ってあげられるのかわからない。
You love your boyfriend, but you don't hate his sister. Yeah, exactly. Assuming you marry the guy, the sister's going to be part of your family for the rest of your lives. Why would you just be like, I hate them? Not even gonna try. You should just leave.
さとこがさとしくんにべったりしすぎなんだよ。さとこがもっとしっかりすれば、さとしくんがここまで追い詰められることはない。
はっきり言うね。
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Satoshi really would want Shion to care for Satoko. 100%. Rena nodded with an unflinching smile, even though my remarks could be taken as harsh. What was this mysterious girl thinking? It was difficult to get a read on her. That's the other reason why she's so creepy.
さとしくんもさ、ほんの少しはそう思っているとこあるかもしれないね。
Rena, do not plant that idea in Shion's head.
え？
Rena kept smiling, but her smile looked vaguely and strangely cold.
さとしくんも多分心のどこかでさとこちゃんをかばい続けることに疲れを感じてると思う。
Given the type of person Rena is, I don't think she'd say something if she wasn't certain of it. Because of that, she must have been confident in what she just told me.
どうしてそう思う？
私さとしくんに打ち明けられたから。
Rena? Are you being honest, or are you just sowing little seeds of chaos here? Satoshi-kun secretly confessed to her. Rena asked me to keep it that way.
さとしくんがね、言った兄として頼られることに苦痛を感じる。それはとても罪深いことだと知っているけど。
Since when are the two of them buddy-buddy? I thought Rena just moved here. Oh yeah, creepy music. I don't think he would say something like that. But however, it wasn't likely that Rena was lying. I just met her, so I didn't know what made me feel that way. But my hunch told me that she was telling the truth. It's because it's a truth you want to believe. I heaved a huge sigh. Satoshi-kun must have gotten so tired that he couldn't help telling someone. Even so. Even if he thought that way, he wouldn't tell somebody so easily. Maybe Rena led him to do so. She might be capable of something like that. I don't understand this girl. It had only been a little while since we'd met, but I'd already started talking about something I was keeping deep inside of me. Does she have some kind of supernatural power to reach into people's minds and drag out what they're thinking? It suddenly hit me that I was sitting with this creepy girl in a tiny shack. I'd been dragged into her strange world. I don't think Sis had realized Rena's real personality. She thinks Rena's just a funny girl with some strange habits. She would have told me if she knew.
レナは
Oh!
サトシくんに打ち明けられるくらいに信頼されてるんだね。
Look at the CG! Oh, it looks so nice! Rena's fingers on her right hand look kind of weird. Like her thumb. Look at Rena's thumb. It's so strange looking if you think about it. It's very long and thin. I know she's a girl, but like, really? Wow. Rena's a great listener. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It makes sense for a sibling to be exhausted with the younger one and vent his frustrations to a friend but not act on it. But he doesn't know Rena that well, so something must have happened.
羨ましい。
別に信頼されてるわけじゃない。私が経験者だからだと思う。
Does Rena have a sibling we don't know about?
経験？
This wouldn't be the first time there's a sibling we didn't know about randomly introduced partway into the story.
レナにも兄弟をかばったりした経験が。
ひたひたとずっと足音がついてきて。
Ooh. That's a sign that someone's going crazy when they hear footsteps following them.
夜は枕元にまで立たれて見下ろされる経験。
Oh. Huh? Sorry, Rena. What are you talking about? I turned around to face her and got the chills. Reptile eyes are back, everybody! Though she was smiling, her eyes looked ice cold. I trembled and froze with my eyes open.
みーちゃんにはないないと思う。
I know we knew Rena was loony. She wasn't loony in chapter 2. She was the one and only well, no, that's not true. Well, okay. Assuming Mion actually was the crazy one, Rena was literally the only sane person in chapter 2 out of the kids. Oh.
多分。
Rena kept laughing self-derisively. I tried to figure out what she was saying.
みーちゃんはひなみ沢から逃げ出そうとか、もっと都会に行きたいなとか、そういうことを考えたことはある？
I didn't know how to respond. Rena waited for my answer, urging me to speak with her silence.
ないよ。私は地元好きだし。
だよね。だよね。みーちゃんはそうだと思う。
Okay, Rena, I really have to go. It didn't seem like a good idea to lie to her. Yeah, Rena doesn't like liars. We learned that in chapter 1. Rena has some kind of power I can't grasp. She can read people's minds by just seeing the slightest change in their expressions. So I had to tell her the truth.
そうならば、みーちゃんは大丈夫。お社様には怒られ
She's
ない。
obsessed with the demon, man.
お社様？
Oyashiro-sama. That's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. I couldn't understand why she mentioned that name. My mind stopped for a moment.
うん。お社様。
She calmly repeated the name as if trying to teach me something. Oh, it's the same song, okay. Yeah, I remember. Oyashiro-sama never allows heathens to desecrate Hinamizawa. Oyashiro-sama never allows the villagers to leave either. Those are the rules. Slowly, I recalled the fear of the curse which supposedly caused the dismemberment murder and the death of the Hosho couple. When I was sent to the institution, I had this fear. I was so scared that if I went to that faraway boarding school, I'd fall under the curse. But I should be okay. I escaped from the school and returned to my hometown, to Okinomiya to be precise. But it should be okay according to the kids' rules, because I love Hinamizawa. The hag forces me to live in this suffocating life, but I still chose to stay in this place. I don't believe I'm breaking Oyashiro-sama's rules. Even though the Sonozaki family had selfishly banished me to a remote place, I came back here anyway. Oyashiro-sama should even bless me for that. I guess I'm trying to convince myself that the curse doesn't apply to me. But I think I'm still afraid of it.
私は地元好きだから、その意味ではお社様のたたりがあるとは思っちゃいないね。模範的だとすら思ってるけど。
うん。それは私も認める。だからこそ、サトシ君のことはわかんない。
Uh-oh.
どうして？
サトシ君は心のどこかで
Yeah, I wonder why.
ひなみ沢を捨ててどこかへ逃げ出したいと思ってるから。
I gave an inaudible cry. While I was feeling sad that Satoshi-kun hadn't shown up for practice, he still lived in Hinamizawa, so I'd never even considered the thought of him going away.
サトシ君が家出したがってるってこと？
無意識のうちに。お社様が枕元に立つまでは多分意識すらしてなかったと思う。
I am still wondering if Oyashiro-sama is an actual demon or not. I do think there's a demonic power or presence at play somewhere here. I'm not sure if it's Oyashiro-sama or not, though. I still had no idea what she was talking about. I continued trying to figure out what she was saying.
サトシ君が体験していることは全てお社様のたたりの前触れ
I
なの。
love the alarm, too. This is a really well done music track.
誰かが遠くからじっと伺っている。誰かがずっとつけてくる。誰かがいつも自分のすぐ後ろから見てい
It's
る。
crazy hearing all these creepy dialogue coming from Nagisa's voice actress.
やがて足音は常に自分とずれて一つ余計に聞こえるようになるの。それらは初めのうちはお外でだけだけど、やがて後ろのそれは自分の家の中にまでついてくるように
So
なる。
Rena was always crazy.
そしてお布団に入って明かりを消してもずっと枕元から見下ろしてるの。ただただ黙ってじっと自らの罪を認めるまで。サトシ君は夢見が悪いって最初言い出したの。
Rena, is there something that you want to talk to us about?
それで私がどんな夢と聞いたら、私の時をなぞるようだった。だから私彼に予告したの。その気配がやがて近づき足音を聞かせるようになり、 常にサトシ君を見下ろしているようになったなら、
Rena, is this something you are actively experiencing right now, or is this something that you experienced in the past? Or in the future?
それはきっと私の時と同じだから相談してって。サトシ君は初め私のことを怪げに思ったと思う。でも私が予告した通りにお社様の気配が近づくのを感じ、お社様が枕元にまで立つに至って、
How would things have been different if Keiji had been given meds? Yeah, Keiji kind of went crazy in like all of the chapters. In chapter 1, he killed his friends and like clawed out his own throat at the end. In chapter 2, in chapter 2, I think he was more just completely and utterly stupid rather than insane. Although I think he went insane at the end when he was like hallucinating Mion/Shion at the end, like killing him. And in chapter 3, I mean, do we even need to talk about chapter 3? The chapter ended with him in an insane asylum in a straitjacket. So, yeah.
やっと自分の身に起こってることを相談できるのは私しかいないって
That must have been a real comfort.
気づいたの。
Hey, Rena. Rena didn't look like she was joking. She just calmly told me what had been going on. I couldn't even move. I couldn't tell if her words were a joke or the truth. I could only feel stunned.
私はね、もともとひなみ沢に住んでいたの。小学校に上がる直前で茨城に引っ越した。でも新しい環境に馴染めなくてね。
That's a way of putting it.
心の中のお社様にひなみ沢に帰れ帰れって何度も呼びかけられてた。
This is honestly one of the weirder things here. Because Rena was not in Hinamizawa or the nearby area, but she still was having these weird, like, Oyashiro-sama things. This is kind of what makes me think there is some level of a demonic presence here. Because if it actually is a human who is, like, masterminding everything, how would they have known Rena would be around, and why would they go out of their way to, like, find her in this weird prefecture and be like, Oyashiro-sama, blah. This is interesting.
でも小学生の子が泣きながら元の町に帰りたいって言ったってどうにもならないもんね。私は現実とお社様の声に板挟みにされてずっと過ごすことになる。そして
Rena, how much are you going to be oversharing today? Rena paused. It looked like she didn't want to go into the details of what followed. In general, she confused me even more. Well, I'm pretty sure Rena just broke all the windows in her school after that.
結局いろいろあって私はひなみ沢に帰ってくることができた。だからお社様にはそれで許してもらえた。あれ以来お社様の気配を感じることはないもの。
That's interesting.
でもね、サトシ君は私と違ってひなみ沢にいながらお社様のたたりを受けることになった。それはなぜか。理由は一つ。サトシ君はひなみ沢にはいたけれども、ひなみ沢を捨てて遠くに逃げたがっていたから。その心をお社様は許さなかったんだね。サトシ君は自問自答を何度も繰り返した挙句にほら、サトシ君アルバイトをしてるでしょ。サトコちゃんが欲しがったあの大きなぬいぐるみは
That's
10万円くらいする
a
もんね。
$1,000 teddy bear? That's highway robbery.
サトシ君はサトコちゃんの誕生日までにその額を稼ごうとして
That
いる。
bear better be made of solid gold.
でもほら、考えてみて。それだけのお金があったら後先を考えなくていいなら、どこか遠くへ逃げ出す十分な費用になりうるんだよ。
That's what Keiji thought happened.
サトシ君は無意識のうちにね、サトコちゃんを捨ててどこか遠くへ逃げ出すお金に使ってしまいたいって。それはサトシ君にとってはこの上なく罪深い。
Yeah, even the Papa Bear in Animal Crossing didn't cost anywhere close to that amount.
でもさっきみーちゃんが指摘したように、サトコちゃんの存在自体がサトシ君の負担になってるのは事実。サトシ君だってバカじゃないもん。兄として認めたくなかっただけでサトコちゃんが負担になっていることにはちゃんと気づいていた。だからサトシ君は葛藤してるんだよ。自分は妹を喜ばせるためのお金を貯めるためにバイトをしているつもりだけれども、それは自分の心を騙しているだけで、本当は自分が逃げ出すためのお金を作るためにバイトしてるんじゃないかって。
Interesting.
私は逃げ出すべきじゃないと思う。逃げ出したってサトシ君は多分一生後悔する。お社様だってそれを分かってるからサトシ君にこうして警告してくれているの。
Prediction: Satoshi is gonna ask Shion to look after Satoko before he disappears, dies, or skips town. I could see that happening. But that means Shion is definitely not going to actually follow through on that.
サトシ君の心にサトコちゃんを見捨てるなんて悪魔のささやきが
And she,
早く聞こえなくなるといいんだけど。
Shion's gonna be like, I hope so too, but for completely the opposite reason.
サトシ君は綿流しの数日後だっけのサトコちゃんの誕生日にプレゼントを間に合わせるため、今いろいろなアルバイトに精を出してる。心も体も追い詰めてる。そんな苦境がきっとサトコちゃんの誕生日を境に終わるんだって信じて。
Thank you for this long monologue, Rena.
サトシ君は今もお社様のたたりに苛まれている。サトコちゃんを守るか見捨てるかの天秤の狭間に立たされながらね。
Huh. The torrential rain didn't seem to want to stop. It kept pouring down on the galvanized iron roof, producing a loud noise. Yet in the shack, it fell completely silent. The hell was Rena talking about? I couldn't grasp even half of what she was saying. The only thing I figured out is that Satoshi-kun was struggling, confused, and in lots of pain. He's suffering from Oyoshiro-sama's curse, and Rena had experienced that before. The Watanagashi Festival was right around the corner. Oyoshiro-sama's curse had struck 3 years in a row. Okay, so this is year 4. There was no guarantee that it wouldn't strike a 4th time. Satoshi-kun was subject to Oyoshiro-sama's curse even now. Was he going to skip town? Was he going to be the next victim of Oyoshiro-sama's curse? Either way, he might disappear forever. Could I do something to prevent it? If I didn't do anything, it would all come to a hopeless end. End? I started feeling a sense of dread. I didn't buy the crazy story Rena told me. But if something really was happening to Satoshi-kun, which might bring about some kind of an end, I couldn't help feeling scared. It's true, isn't it? My instinct is always correct. I decided to contact Mion despite the danger. Mion got upset at first, but she had to listen to me.
お姉、サトシ君のことだけど、どういうことになってるの？
最近だいぶ険しい様子なんだよ。
By the way, Shion, you better tell Mion that you totally victim blamed Satoko right in front of Coach. And you also better tell her about the really weird monologue that Rena gave you.
うかつに声もかけられない雰囲気。
何それ？声をかけられないから、サトシ君がどういう状況になってるかよく分かってないってこと？お姉、キンキンにまた入れ替わる機会を設けてほしいの。
うん、それはもちろん構わないよ。でも最近はちょっと綿流しのお祭りの打ち合わせの絡みで似て何？
Well, see, I got a plan.
またバイト？
私、ひなみ沢の学校へ行く。
That's not a good idea, Shion. No, it's not. No, it's not. Oh no, that is Higurashi when they cry. Shion's gonna mess it up again. New tips unlocked. Notebook page 21 and page 24. These are great tip names, by the way. Just fantastic. Possessed achievement. Heard a story about Oyashiro-sama. And it says bus stop on the achievement. That's great. Alright, let's look at the tips. Page 21. Why don't I relate my encounter with that creepy girl in the rain? Her name is Rena Ryugu. Her real first name is Reina. I have no idea what kind of girl she really is. One thing is certain, she has no relation to the Sonozaki family. She has no relation to the three families as a whole either. The Ryugu family used to live in Hinamizawa, but they moved to Ibaraki. This was before she went to elementary school. They returned to Hinamizawa some years later. Rena Ryugu said that she came back because Oyashiro-sama told her to. How did the parents take that? Oh, that's right. She vandalized the school and they're like, maybe we should go back. I don't know what that means. She said it was like the curse of Oyashiro-sama. That Oyashiro-sama had stalked her. I think that was probably a hallucination, but Satoshi-kun had been interested in that experience. She said that Satoshi-kun is also experiencing Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun told her that he was being followed by some unknown existence. He was surprised to learn that Rena had the same experience before. What is Oyashiro-sama's curse? Why did Rena and Satoshi-kun have a similar experience? I believe that means that somebody put them under surveillance. Somebody must be spying on the next victim of the curse. Since Rena and Satoshi-kun both blindly believed in Oyashiro-sama's curse, they interpreted it as Oyashiro-sama's presence. If paranoia kicked in, they'd feel as if they were experiencing paranormal phenomena. Judging from what Rena said, it seems that Satoshi-kun had been put on surveillance since long before Watanagashi. So, one question comes to mind. Why were they watching Rena? I'm assuming that this surveillance was placed on a victim-to-be of that year. If so, I don't understand why Rena went through it. Why did they watch her even though she was living so far away? Bingo. If she was considered somebody who had abandoned the village, I could understand. But she didn't fall victim in the end. Maybe she was forgiven because she came back to Hinamizawa, but why would they wait that long? I guess she knows something that I don't. That's the thing. How could they stalk her when she was that far away? Satoshi-kun looked terrible. When he went home, he had to mediate a fight between Satoko and their aunt. He became mentally exhausted. He went to work every day. He became physically exhausted. He no longer communicated with his classmates. He's either slept on his desk, or he was gone somewhere during lunch break. He used to be really gentle. It was painful to see him suffering like that. On top of all that, he was dealing with the curse of Oyashiro-sama. He must have been completely, totally, and absolutely exhausted. That curse was a form of surveillance by those planning to victimize Satoshi-kun that year. That means that the other victim was in the same situation. Satoshi-kun's aunt had also been watched. Did she notice any presence? What about the others? Did the victims of the previous incidents also experience it? I need to investigate the facts in order to prove the curse on Satoshi-kun was actually just surveillance. Is it surveillance, paranoia, or really the curse? Indeed, indeed. Okay, I was planning on going a little bit longer, but we're right around the 2.5 hour mark of the stream, and that last chapter was pretty long, so I have no idea how long the next chapters are going to be, so we are going to save and quit the stream there. I am tired. We've got to the end of chapter 4. So, next week on Sunday, we will be continuing Higurashi When They Cry. We'll hopefully do the next 2 chapters within chapter 5. This week, we will be probably finishing up our Pikmin 4 streams, and then I will probably do a couple of one-off playthroughs, and I will make sure that we finish chapter Higurashi chapter 5 by the end of the month for Halloween. So hopefully the timeline goes well. Thanks for joining in and chatting, everybody. It's always a fun time. Hope you have a great rest of your night, and God bless everybody.